This fucking Raw. Let me tell you something. I'm going to do a quick review right here. They spent 40 fucking minutes, if you count commercials, talking.
Yeah.
With a Vince McMahon revealed as the higher power. Steve Austin is now the CEO. Vince and Lynn are out there. The whole bullshit. Okay? In that 40 fucking minutes, Steve Austin signs a bunch of matches. The audience is all excited. Every fucking one of these matches was a useless pile of shit. Am I wrong?
No.
One nothing happening bullshit match and finish after another. And like, by about an hour and a half in, I was so done with this show. Like, shit was happening. I totally wasn't paying attention. Like yeah, it's a garage.
Okay.
They're absolutely, there's nothing in the ring that you should ever care about on WWE.
No.
Like they have conditioned you that nothing fucking matters.
Mm-hmm.
And I was watching this show and they're winning. They're kicking WCW's ass. Part of it's because WCW sucked. But I swear to God,
we went over here.
If Vince McMahon, I just thought about this on the show. If Vince had not screwed Brett and he never became a TV character, and somehow they did not stumble upon Steve Austin and The Rock, we may be watching Nitro today.
Yeah.
This fucking show is so horrible. It's inconceivably bad. It's just, I can't even... Why do fans get excited when they announce matches?
That's a good question.
Why? Are you dumb? Are you fucking stupid? You know that every single match that they announce is going to have a bullshit finish that's going to be 2 minutes long. Or no finish. Why the fuck do you get excited? I don't get it. Were fans that fucking dumb that they thought, man, we're going to see a real UFC-style fight between Vince and Ken Shamrock. Man, we're going to see a finish in that Undertaker-Big Show match. Oh, man. Wait till we get this bikini contest between Deborah and Nicole. Or Triple H versus Rock in a fucking cast match? A cast match? Kane and X-Pac versus Shane? Acolytes? Just bullshit up and down the show. Why? How fucking dumb were you fucking idiots? You bought that you were going to get matches. They do this every fucking week. Sweating like a fucking hog right now. This show was just wretched. Fucking wretched. Vince McMahon is the fucking higher power. Like, we've been teasing it for months. Like, we didn't want to spoil it from fucking 19 years ago. This fucking guy's a higher power. Dude! Just fucking terrible. Irredeemable.
I need to get you a blood pressure cuff.
It's fine.
Are you sure?
I'm positive. Maybe not at this exact moment. I probably look like Dick Murdoch right now.
Well, you
but
have.
God damn. Fuck this show.
Well, I guess we'll take it from the top then.
Do we have to?
So we should all go into this review with an open mind. WWF Retro... Brian's not going into this with an open mind. Brian's mind is made up. Oh, God. Retro Raw number 315, also June 7th, 1999. So they had this show called Heat in between Raws, and they wanted Steve Austin to be on it, but of course Austin saw the higher power last week, but he couldn't reveal it on Heat because they had to do the reveal tonight, so they just had Austin running around beating people up. That actually sounds awesome. So Vince comes out in his fighting gear. I hope you like the words greater power, everyone. Because Vince was talking, like every time he said those words, he got an extra million. He claimed Undertaker had mentioned the greater power 3 months ago. He'd like to meet...
He did?
That's what he said.
Where the fuck was I?
I don't know. I thought we watched these shows. He said he'd like to meet the greater power, but then again, perhaps he already has met the greater power. The greater power might be a bunch of people. The greater power might be Jake the Snake Roberts. It might be a McMahon family member.
Might be Shawn Michaels. If only.
Regardless, I am going to go no holds barred with the greater power here tonight in Boston. He challenges Shane, teasing he may in fact be the greater power, to a no-holds-barred match tonight. He puts up his half of the company against Shane's winner-take-all. Shane comes out. He accepts Vince's challenge. Says Taker will reveal the greater power soon. By the time Vince gets to the back, in fact. Convenient. Steve Austin is shown talking to somebody in a limousine. Hopefully there are no white Hummers around. Corporate Ministry came out for a promo. Taker calls him the higher power. And the greater power came out. So we're watching this 19 years later. And we've talked about how there's, in hindsight, there's some of this stuff with, you understood why Shane was disappointed in his father and angry at his family and wanted to lash out and do stuff. And I knew the end was coming. I knew the end would ruin everything. When you're actually watching it happen 19 years later, it's like a train wreck and you just can't stop it. And you want to wave your hands and say, guys, this is going to be awful. Don't do this. But they did. So the greater power comes out. And he gets in the ring, grabs a mic. First we hear Shane's voice saying people should have believed he was not the greater power. And then Shane comes out on stage. It was a swerve. He demands Vince come out, so Vince can be the one to reveal the greater power to the world. Vince appears on the big screen for swerve number 2. And Vince says, I'm close enough right now, but the game is over. This evil SOB should show his face. And then we've all seen the clip 20 million times. It was me. It's me, Austin. It was me all along, Austin.
By the way, this is all taking place, and Undertaker has the World Championship belt.
Yeah.
He's a champion.
I know. Why was he trying to screw Austin?
Well,
He already had the belt.
Well, I know the screwing was when Austin lost the belt. This whole rigmarole was going to throw Austin off his game so Undertaker could beat him. And after he beat him, probably because Owen Hart died, they waited a couple weeks to do the big reveal.
I see.
So he runs his mouth for a while. He thanks Shane, thanks Taker, thanks the rest of the ministry, and then Stephanie and Linda appear on stage looking very disappointed. And then it was time for acting.
Oh, man, Stephanie. Dad, Shane, how could you be so cruel to me?
Can you imagine if this was the Stephanie doing Undercover Boss? Everyone would say, hey, Steph, how you doing?
Only to be outshadowed by Linda's acting.
Are we certain Linda McMahon is an actual human?
No, she's a robot.
And not
Actually,
a primitive automaton?
listen, you
Got out of the
guys,
same factory as Demon Lincoln.
Listen to me.
No, Dee's way more colorful.
If we keep watching Raw, this was one of her better performances.
Really?
Yeah, I guarantee it.
So the future head of the United States Small Business Administration says she wants to talk business.
Yeah.
Says it's not true that Vince and Shane each own 50% of the company. In fact, each of them owns 1/4 of the company. Talks about growing the company, a meeting of the board of directors. She says what this office needs is some cut-off jean shorts, profanity, and drinking on the job.
I mean, she was no good, don't get me wrong. But she's been significantly worse than this.
She explains she has stepped down as CEO of the company, but first she named her own successor, who is now in charge, and Steve Austin comes out.
Clearly, they had not gone public yet.
No. So
basically, I just want to clear one thing up. As much as I fucking hated this show, I will defend one thing. Okay?
Vince and Shane.
No. So everybody's like, so Vince revealed himself 5 minutes ago. But Linda, in the morning, met with the board of directors and did all of this.
Because Austin knew.
Exactly. But like back then, a lot of people couldn't figure this out.
I see.
But yes, Austin saw his face last week.
He had 7 days to take a plane.
So he went and told on him, told Linda, and then she believed Steve, I might add.
Yes.
She believed him, and she gave him not only her shares, but Stephanie's.
So they claim...
You know what shares are in a company?
Yeah.
She gave away half of the family fortune to Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Their father's most hated
Because
enemy.
her dad was running around dressed like a fucking monk.
That happened.
Well, and they tortured Stephanie with.
Well, they scared her.
And
They kidnapped
they
her
kidnapped
for a week.
her and
Well,
tried to crucify
I
her.
know, but
And other women.
She was just scared. They didn't actually violate her, to the best of our knowledge.
They teased it.
Well, sure.
They degraded her. They insulted her.
I mean, she wasn't happy with it.
No.
It was an asshole thing to do.
So I do want to say that the positive I got out of this was, I will admit, Vince and Shane realizing their whole plan, their 3-month diabolical plot had been foiled, and standing there gobsmacked in despair.
Mouth agape.
You're not wrong, Vinny, but the very greatest Vince McMahon reaction I've ever seen in my whole entire life was actually when Test
Yes.
asked Stephanie out on a date.
We'll get to that.
It was the greatest. There is no Steve Austin rib on Vince on television. There is no stunner, reveal. There is nothing that has ever happened to Vince McMahon that I've ever seen on
Don't
television
kiss my ass
yet
club.
that has gotten a reaction like when fucking Test asked Stephanie McMahon out on a date. He died. He actually died on television and came back to life. That made the show worthwhile.
I also like, by the way, Shane owns 25%. Shane owns a quarter of the company. Vince owns a quarter of the company. Steph and Linda each own a quarter of the company. So they give Austin their half, the women do, and somehow Austin's half outrules Vince and Shane's half.
Well, they only have a quarter.
But there's each.
Yeah, I guess they have to team up
They're
or
the
something.
majority owner.
Apparently not, because apparently they cannot gang up and overrule Austin. What Austin says goes.
Okay.
Yeah, the storyline sucks.
It does.
I mean, the least of our problems is that it's 50-50.
So Austin starts booking matches. He says, I will get that title back, but not right now. For now, I'm booking myself against Vince and Shane in a handicap match at King of the Ring. Vince is completely fine with this. Austin books Shane versus X-Pac and Kane in a handicap match for tonight. He says, Ken, Shamrock, Test, and Big Show can wrestle anyone they want. Mick Foley is not there, but since Hunter and Chyna like to cripple people, he'll book Hunter versus Rock in a cast match tonight with Rock's broken arm and Hunter's perfectly healthy leg both in casts.
A cast match.
This went on and on and on.
45 minutes of fucking television talking.
The only thing I can say is that I think in part they realized, I mean, the reveal's done. Vince is the greater power. This storyline is now dead. There's nothing else to do with it. Let's now immediately, in the same segment, move on to the Austin as CEO storyline. Let's put this one to bed and just move forward. Austin meets with Linda and Steph backstage. They gave him beer. He shared.
I don't know how the hell they afforded it. They just gave away all of their money.
Gangrel,
He should be buying them fucking beer.
Gangrel and Edge versus the Acolytes. And clips of the Acolytes getting a bloodbath on Heat. They beat the holy hell out of Edge for a while.
Let me tell you, this is, I don't want to glorify this spot because Gangrel almost died, okay? But Gangrel's in there making a hot tag, and him and Farouk just fuck up this spot.
Mm-hmm.
Farouk's trying to give him a clothesline, and Gangrel falls down long before his arm even got there. Bradshaw sees this. He fucking clotheslined Gangrel so fucking hard. This was Concussion City. He almost killed this fucking guy. And that was the finish.
They actually fucked it up at least twice before taking it home, so Bradshaw's probably good and pissed.
Bradshaw's like, you ain't ducking this one.
Not to be outdone, Farouk just drove Christian through the mat with a powerbomb. Just killed him.
But hey, clean pin. And then the Brood was out, or the Hardys were out there, and they brawled with the Brood, so that's still going on. The three Union dudes come out for a promo. And
God, did they look like fucking geeks today.
Vince and Shane are sulking backstage. Show gives a special thanks to Steve Austin, who he calls the toughest CEO I've ever worked for. And you know he was made to say that. And I bet it probably did bother Eric when he said that. So he gets to choose his opponent, and he wants the Undertaker tonight.
Vince is aghast.
Promises to chokeslam him to hell and win the WWF title. Shamrock, whose nose looked freshly broken. First he tells Foley to get well soon. And he says, I was scheduled tonight for a Lion's Den match with Jeff Jarrett. But that match is off. I am canceling it. I am challenging the higher power himself, Vince McMahon. Vince was not thrilled with that either.
Dude, this was the best promo I've ever seen at a Ken Shamrock. He's on fucking fire. He goes, all of this shit that I did for you, all of your other guys walked out on you. I stood by you.
Vince cried.
I was the one that went after Stephanie. I put myself and my life on the line out there. And now it's all some big fucking ruse. I'm going to kick your ass in that Lion's Den cage tonight. It's fucking great. And what a match we got.
And Test goes last. And Test confirms, first of all, Steve Austin said I can get a matchup with whomever I want, right? And so he called out Stephanie McMahon. Vince is appalled. Some damn wrestler?
What is this? Some damn wrestler?
His worst fears coming true. So Test gets down on one knee and asks Stephanie on a date.
This right here was the beginning.
Yeah, this is important.
This is the beginning of the rest of WWE history.
Because Test and Stephanie had a fake relationship.
Yep.
Leading to a fake wedding.
Yep.
Which was interrupted by Triple H and another fake wedding.
Yep.
And he and Steph had a fake relationship that turned into a real relationship and changed everything.
Yeah.
It's
Now
all
Hunter's
started
next-
right here.
He's next in command.
Yes.
All because of this.
The heir to the throne. So, yes, here was where Vince had his tantrum. Vince and Shane were both great, actually. Yeah, I don't know if they planned it, but they're both kind of sitting there leaning forward. And as soon as Tess says, "Will you go out with me?" Vince throws his head back, and Shane, like, pops up. He explodes forward. So it was opposites, going in opposite directions. It was beautiful.
I love that segment.
That was great.
I'm a fair man. That segment was fucking great. Vince was great. Shamrock was great. Even
Test did his job.
he did his job.
Francois Petit, the masseuse,
Yeah.
is backstage putting a cast on Hunter's
A
leg.
fucking legit plaster cast.
Apparently, yes.
So dumb.
Kane and X-Pac versus Shane McMahon. This went a minute. Pete Gas and Rodney ran in. They were wearing Mankind and Kane masks. They got beat up. They got chokeslammed and Bronco Bustered and Tombstoned. In the middle of the beating, X-Pac's music played. There was no bell to end things. I have no idea what happened to Shane.
All I know is that they actually mentioned the loser leaves town stipulation, but it's just apparently been dropped.
You didn't mention the Stooges running down to beat them up.
I did not mention that. I did write it down. I just glossed over it.
Okay.
Yeah. Michael Cole interviews Deborah. Now, she's supposed to defend the women's title against Nicole Bass tonight, but she explains, "I have 30 days in which to defend this title. Those 30 days are not expired, and I don't want to defend it tonight. But I challenged Nicole Bass to a bikini contest, and if she can win this bikini contest, then she'll get a title shot next week."
And if she loses, she needs to leave me alone and not get a title shot.
Triple H versus Rock in a cast match.
Goddamn worst fucking match they ever had together. Just
they were
fucking
literally
atrocious.
handicapped.
Yeah, it was not supposed to be a good match. It was supposed to be at least a funny match.
It wasn't.
I did laugh at Hunter climbing the steps in the cast. And he because he had this cast on, but he still insisted on doing his full entrance with the lights and the water and everything, and then gimping down to the ring. That made me laugh at least. So Rock hits him with a chair.
So they've taken the Rock and Triple H and turned it into comedy.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah. Yes. So, yeah, Rock hits him with a chair right in front of the ref. Not a DQ. And then Taker attacks, and it is a DQ.
Yeah. Big Show makes a save.
Yeah, they're doing Taker and Rock at the...
King of the Ring.
Thank you, King of the Ring. Deborah versus Nicole Bass in a bikini contest. Jarrett and Val are out there with their respective women. Deborah insists Nicole goes first. Nicole's been doing bodybuilding for like 10 years at this point, so...
She's in shape.
She's in shape, and she's comfortable in a bikini.
She poses. Deborah goes. She poses. She wins. King still fucks it up. And then Nicole tries to hit somebody with the fucking guitar.
Val was impressed by Deborah and looked ready to admit defeat. So Deborah wins. Some kind of brawl breaks out. Nicole goes to hit Jarrett with the guitar. Jarrett dodges. And Nicole hit Val with the edge of the guitar in the head really hard. And on first viewing, I thought this actually broke before it made contact.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Because Val comes up bleeding from the top of the head. So Jarrett and Deborah leave. First, Val is angry because he was hit in the head with the guitar. Sure. He says he's tired of Nicole screwing up. But before he can dump her, she says, "I'm sick of you." And she dumps him. And of course, Val can't have this. And so he follows her to the back, insisting they get back together so he can dump her.
Yeah, you know, this, if I recall correctly, Nicole Bass filed a lawsuit against WWE.
I looked it up.
Yeah, and it was like, she was talking about how she got hit with a guitar, and it was supposed to be like a gimmick guitar, but it wasn't. And then meanwhile, here she is almost killing Val Venus with a guitar shot.
She also claimed that Steve Blackman had sexually harassed her.
Not Blackman. It was Brooklyn Brawler.
Ah.
Lombardi.
Lombardi. Mm-hmm.
That's 10 times as preposterous.
Well, it is. We have GTV with a hidden camera in PMS's locker room. Don't do this, everyone. This will get you in trouble. So, first of all, it was really, really quiet. I had to rewind it and crank up the volume to listen to what they were saying. So what they were doing, Terry Runnels, Jacqueline, and Ryan Shamrock, they're all walking around in towels, just because. They are going through WWF Magazine, listing who they had and had not fucked, and making fun of how small all their penises were.
Yeah. Including Marlena making fun of her own husband.
Well, yeah, because it was never revealed, but GTV was obviously supposed to be Goldust.
Yes.
So they're burying Mr. Ass and somebody else, some other unnamed guy, and then when she starts talking about Dustin's dick and it immediately fades to black, that was funny. That was honestly funny.
Last week it was GDTV.
Yes.
Now it's just GTV.
I like GD because that's goddamn TV.
Well, I think they thought it was too obvious it was Goldust, so they left the D in there.
I see.
Yeah. Godfather versus Mr. Ass. Set up by Mr. Ass accidentally hitting Godfather with a chair on heat. They did 1 minute of out-of-control action. Road Dogg runs out, hits a pump handle slam on Ass, and Godfather hits a leg drop for the win. I have no idea what the point of this was.
There's some very lovely ladies out this week. They all gather around the Godfather after the match, and they hug him, and they all fall down, and they start humping him.
Yes.
And then he gets up, and he grabs his Johnson and runs off. I laughed. What a fucking job.
There was 7 of them.
Yeah.
7.
Yeah. So, yeah, by the way, spoiler alert, Billy Gunn wins King of the Ring. You're getting beat by Godfather first.
Well, he's going to need a challenger for the crown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael Cole interviews Draws and Prince Albert. They both puked.
Oh, God, stupid fucking shit.
Al Snow and Draws.
Terrible match. Here's all I wrote about it. They brawl in a bar. Al hits him with, quote, some kind of artwork, according to Jim Ross, and beats him. Nowhere near as good as that Mexican hardcore Falls Count Anywhere match. Fucking was terrible. Horrible.
I wrote Al hit him with something and pinned him.
It was a banister topper.
Some kind of artwork.
Yeah.
It was a banister topper.
The only thing else to let you know here, they were brawling in the sports bar.
In the sports bra?
That would be news. They were brawling in the sports bar.
Every crevice of the arena.
Every cleavage, as Randy Savage said. They were brawling in the sports bar, and they tried to do the black and white cowboy scene where you throw a guy in the bar and slide him, but they never bothered to check if it was actually slippery. So they throw Draws up there, and Al pushes him 3 inches, and pushes him 3 inches.
Well, he's all sweaty and
pushes him 3 inches, and they just give up. That's like Al Snow's entire career right there. Al Snow was so bad.
Yeah, this absolutely sucks.
couldn't have Draws have oiled up or something.
Vince does a promo saying he's not afraid of Ken Shamrock. And then we get Vince McMahon versus Vince Torelli in a Lion's Den match.
Vince McMahon versus the world's most dangerous man, Ken Shamrock, in a Lion's Den UFC-style cage match. Mm-hmm. You'll never guess who won. This is very famous.
So Vince comes out first, and he attempts to chain the door shut so Shamrock can't get in. So Shamrock runs out, and he kicks the door, and it opens right up, and Vince grabs the chain. Now, I assume that, like, the lock broke, or Vince...
No. Vince, you're confused. So Vince comes out first, and he locks himself in. So Ken comes out, and Ken can't figure out how to get in. There's no roof. You fucking idiot. Climb over the goddamn thing.
There's that, too.
Instead, he's outside. And so it was a plot, Vinny. Mm-hmm. When Jeff Jarrett starts coming out, then Vince unlocks the door. Ken kicks the door open. But then Jarrett whacks him with the guitar when he's right by the door, so that Ken Shamrock falls into the cage.
Yes. Right.
And Vince McMahon puts an ankle lock. I can only imagine how long it took to teach him that move. Puts him in the ankle lock, and the referee decides Ken is unconscious. And so he awards the victory to Vince McMahon.
Yes.
Vince McMahon beat Ken Shamrock in a Lion's Den match.
Yes.
It happened.
Only in WWE.
Only Vince McMahon.
Vince and Shane then jumped into a limo and drove away.
Another screw job. Got to get in that limo and flee.
So we have brackets for the King of the Ring tournament matchups at the pay-per-view. The first round of matches is Mr. Ass versus Ken Shamrock. Big Show versus Kane, Road Dogg versus China, and Hardcore Holly versus X-Pac. Undertaker versus Big Show.
That's what they came up with for the King of the Ring fucking tournament.
Who would you put in there?
Well, like stars.
Not China.
I mean, the Undertaker, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock,
Those are bigger stars.
Mick Foley.
Those are bigger stars than anyone in this tournament. Undertaker versus Big Show for the WWF title. They were in the ring for about 2 minutes, and for those 2 minutes, Undertaker bumped his ass off.
Oh, he almost killed himself.
He was flying all over the place to get the big fella over. And then most of the match was Big Show lying on the floor as Taker punched and choked him. I was trying to figure out why they were not just in the ring doing this stuff. And then I guess I figured out by the end. Because they're working on the ring, and when they get back in, Show grabs him and chokeslams him through the ring. 15 days after Owen Hart dies, they're doing crazy stunts again. The bell rings. Ministry dudes run out. They all get chokeslammed on the other side of the ring.
We are only told that Undertaker has escaped with his title.
Taker gets up. Taker gets up and walks out. He's fine.
But I mean, what was the finish? A DQ
I don't
for
know.
choke slamming a guy through a fucking ring?
But if you're going to do a chokeslam through a ring spot, shouldn't the guy at least be off the rest of the show?
Nope.
He can't stay down for 5 minutes till the credits roll?
Nope.
He got up. He was fine. This did nothing. Nothing. What a lame show.
The last word I wrote in my entire review was, whatever. So over this fucking show. It sucked. God damn, it sucked.
Well, let's hit the music and get out of here.
It lost to Nitro.
Nitro was a
At
better
least
show.
in quality,
And Nitro was built around poop.
not in ratings. All right, here we go.
The finishes on this show were clean pin, believe it or not.
I don't. Are we sure about that?
The tag match with the Acolytes.
Oh yeah, the clothesline from hell.
Yes.
You're right.
We had no finish in a handicap match. I still can't get over that. Had a DQ in a cast match due to run-in after one guy had already used a chair as a weapon. A clean finish in a bikini contest. We had a pin after interference. Pin in a bar in a hardcore match. A submission in a Lion's Den match after interference. And then in the World Championship main event, no finish due to chokeslam.
Chokeslam through the ring.
What a terrible show.
I guess the playing surface was altered. So you got to throw the whole match out.
They were out of balance.
You know what I mean? Like that famous match where the Rockers won the tag titles, but the rope broke.
So it didn't count.
So they rescinded it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Once the playing surface breaks, I mean, it's over.
Well, it's a safety hazard.
You know what? Going through the ring is a fucking
Really
safety
was.
hazard.
And there's one thing we know about 1999 Raw, they cared about their wrestlers.
They cared about safety.
I'm emotionally exhausted already.
Well, good. And then you'll realize how fucking terrible this show was.
Raw.
I watched this on my goddamn birthday.
Raw 316, June 14th, 1999.
316.
It was, yeah. And what a party it turned out to be for Austin. Mm-hmm. They recast Vince's reveal as the higher power and then showed a video of all the turmoil and torment he had put his daughter through as part of this grand plan. So we have a clip of Steve Austin's first day as CEO at Titan Towers.
He's taking over, showing people how to answer the phone. It's supposed to be funny.
It's not.
He's just a dick.
There were a couple of funny things, but yeah, in general, he was just like a total asshole.
Yeah.
But I guess as the king of the working man, all the working...
I said he was a dick to the working people, too.
I guess that's true.
He was a dick to every single person he ran into here.
That's true.
All these guys with wheelbarrows outside, who I guess he made them stand there all day. He goes inside, he's upset at the receptionist for doing her job, teaches her to swear at people. Now, well, when she did pick up the phone and say, "Who the hell is this and what the hell do you want?"
That was funny.
I laughed at that one. And he goes up to the elevator. So the corporate ministry comes out for a promo, and immediately I start thinking to dissolve this group. This whole thing was done to set up the higher power. You reveal the higher power. They now have no purpose. They're not cool. Let them go their separate ways. As I'm typing this, Vince McMahon says, "A lot of people want these. There's cracks in the foundation of the ministry. They think we should disintegrate." Yes, Vince, we do. 19 years later, please disintegrate.
Shall we add that in the corporate ministry now are the Mean Street Posse?
Yeah,
They're
they lost-
just randomly back after that loser leaves town match.
Yeah, they were back last week.
Yeah. Like, what's going on
And
here?
then they got their jobs back.
I forgot there was a loser leaves town match.
Yeah.
Was it with the Stooges?
Yeah. It was loser leaves town, and now they just came back.
Yeah, they jumped them last
Can't
week.
believe I forgot.
They jumped them last week, and now they've got jobs.
I remember them coming back with masks last week, so that's why they had masks on?
Yeah.
I see. Vince said he and Shane have a match against Austin at King of the Ring, and they start going through a bunch of stipulations.
Wake me up when you're done.
He says it should be a dog pound match. He explains he'll take the road dog and put a dog collar around his neck. And then he says, and this is a quote, "Let's put a dog collar around the neck of Mr. Ass." The glee in Vince's voice, he got to say Mr. Ass on TV. And by the way, walk up to any person who is not a wrestling fan and say this sentence, "Let's put a dog collar around the neck of Mr. Ass," and see how they react. And film it, please.
I'm sure Craig's done that.
Excuse me.
So this is Vince saying Mr. Ass was the part I watched 5 times in this show. We have X-Pac versus Big Show. And
I didn't write down one of these matches. Why did you fucking bother?
It's my job to report here. He books Shane books X-Pac versus Big Show in a David versus Goliath match, which I assumed meant X-Pac would get a slingshot. He says we're going to do Acolytes versus Kane in a handicap match, and then a blind date match with Test, where since Test broke the rules and asked Steph on a date, he'll have to wear a blindfold against Big Boss Man, who won't.
Did he even wear a blindfold?
He actually did.
Oh.
He booked Ken
I was
Shamrock
so over this show.
in a straight jacket match against Jeff Jarrett, not in one. My biggest question, besides why they had to go through 20 minutes to do this, isn't the whole story that Austin's now in charge?
Right.
But he's busy at the office.
So Steve Austin hates Vince McMahon, went behind his back to conspire with his wife and daughter to give him 51% of the company, I guess.
No, it's only 50.
Right.
We found out last week it's only 50.
He goes through all that trouble, and then one weekend just says, "Vince and Shane, you guys handle the show."
Well, maybe the lawyers told him that since you own 50 and they own 50, you get to book 1 week, they get to book the next week.
That's not the story.
And we go back and forth.
That's a better explanation than anything I have. So, let's see. The Stooges come out. They're mad at Vince, so Vince books them against Midian and Viscera.
This one like 20 minutes signing a bunch of matches that were just bullshit.
We had a Chef Boyardee commercial with a bunch of dancing girls and a rapper and The Rock, who was just standing there lifting his eyebrow.
Yeah. That's what he's best at here in this period.
Austin goes into Vince's office, meets the women in charge of getting Vince coffee and wine, tells them to get him beer and liquor.
Vince has hired 3 women.
Yeah.
One woman's job is solely to get him coffee.
Correct.
One woman's job is solely to get him wine. Mm-hmm. And he has a backup woman in case one of the other women is unavailable.
Yes.
Huh.
It's a good gig if you can get it.
Road Dogg versus Mr. Ass in a dog pound match.
Not a dog collar match. A dog pound match.
Well, it wasn't because Mr. Ass never put his collar on.
Yeah, great.
true.
What an awesome stipulation match and follow-up there.
He comes out in a neck brace for no reason, and Dog says, "Kane's behind you," and Billy whips around, which proves his neck is fine. So then Ass beats Road Dogg's ass. As Lawler pointed out, it's a dog pound match. You pound the dog. This made sense.
Yeah, because Jim Ross had no idea what a fucking dog pound match was, nor should he have known.
No. So Billy never did put the collar on. Rhodey makes a cover. Chyna appears and pulls him off. Then she pulls the chain into his nuts. Mr. Ass is a fame asser for the win.
I got nothing to add, dude. This was horrible.
This went like maybe a minute and a half.
Billy mooned him for good measure afterwards.
Yep.
Story is that Chyna is trying to soften up Doggy for her match with him in the King of the Ring tournament.
I see.
Yeah. Shamrock arrived at the building. Sergeant Slaughter said, "We have 5 cops here to be your escort." And Shamrock says, "Are you arresting me? Because if not, you can fuck off." Or something like that.
Something like that.
I don't think that was the exact quote.
I wrote "hit the bricks." I don't know what he actually said.
He had a recap of Undertaker attacking The Rock after the cast match last week. I can't stop giggling about cast match. And Rock comes out, cuts a promo on Taker. I don't mean to alarm you. He was great. Mm-hmm. Especially when he referenced The Undertaker's 33-pound head.
Take your 33-pound head, turn it backwards, and stick it straight up your ass.
This was better than anything on Nitro.
Makes Undertaker mad. Comes out and says sing-along time is over.
Your nursery rhymes are done.
Yeah.
It's time for you to go to the learning tree.
And you know what else he said? Rock, you can't be first, but you'll be next. That's what Flair always said to the women in the 80s on every show we watched. That and training bras.
It is. Yeah, this is a very Texas redneck promo for the guy who's supposed to be just the devil.
Well, he's turning into the American badass here soon.
Apparently.
Yeah.
He accepted Rock's challenge for the pay-per-view. A match I thought had already been booked, by the way. I thought last week, that's why Taker attacked him last week, is because Rock and Taker were at the pay-per-view. Regardless, Taker accepts Rock's challenge here, but Vince comes out and says, no. Before you get a title match at the pay-per-view, Rock, you will have to beat The Undertaker tonight in a non-title match. And you know what? That would actually be perfectly reasonable if they left it at that. But of course, that's not what happened. Shane outright said, we will add a stipulation to that match 5 minutes before it happens. You must stay tuned into Raw to find out what the stipulation for the main event will be. Deborah versus Ivory.
Oh, my Lord in heaven.
Deborah's out there in a bikini.
Fucking terrible match.
Although,
I mean, it wasn't even really a match. It was like 60 seconds of choking each other on the ropes. And they couldn't even do that, right?
I said it was a Glow match, and then I realized Ivory was in Glow, and she probably had better matches than this in Glow. So Nicole Bass comes out. There's scarf choking. Jarrett takes the ref, which lets Nicole grab Deborah. Ivory hits a schoolgirl, and the ref counts 3. Ivory is the new champion. This was horrible, I wrote.
Yeah, so you see, they wanted somebody who could work. It's like, why the fuck didn't you put it on someone who could work in the first place? You just now figured out Deborah couldn't work.
Could have thrown a rock backstage and hit somebody that could work.
And also, there was one thing that I did love about this, and that is Deborah was the women's champion. She comes out here. She actually got screwed. She didn't even lose it clean.
No.
She got choked by this big behemoth, and then she gets pinned and she loses her title.
As her own man was distracting the ref.
She's all sad. She's just devastated. And Jeff Jarrett responds by hugging her and gesturing to his own belt.
Yes.
As if to say, don't worry, dear. I'm still the Intercontinental Champion.
Gonna be fine.
What a great heel.
Everything is okay. Austin meets with the board at Titan Towers. He passes out some employee manuals. He fires some poor guy just for looking stupid.
God.
He promotes a mailroom guy to take his place, but then starts berating the guy he just promoted. Just being a dick to this guy.
It's almost like he wasn't built for this job.
Austin asks some guy, what do you do? And the guy basically says, I'm in IT or whatever. The announcers start making fun of him for being a nerd. So everyone who has a job at Titan Towers now is a terrible person. Is that what I'm being led to understand? Austin says it's time for a beer drinking contest, and that's that. The JVC kaboom of the week was the Big Show chokeslamming Undertaker through the ring last week. This served as a good reminder that Undertaker was chokeslammed through the ring in a spot that led to exactly nothing.
Yeah, they want to remind you that they did that.
Pat Patterson's trying to leave the building. Gerald Briscoe runs
A
him
man
down.
can only take so much.
Gerald Briscoe runs him down and says, listen, I know we got a tough match tonight, but I've got a plan.
Yeah.
A plan.
He had a plan.
Test versus the Big Boss Man in a blindfold match.
This also went about
To think
30 seconds.
that I did not notice Tess was blindfolded in this 30-second bullshit match with a DQ nightstick finish.
You know the funny thing?
Yes?
Blindfold matches always suck. This is
True.
This is far worse than most.
Yeah.
Test was you never see, you go to any playground and just tell any child pretend you are blind and having to do a fight, and they'll do a better job than Test did here. So yes, Bossman hits with a nice stick for the DQ. He's about to hit him more. Steph runs out and begs for mercy. Bossman realizes there's no way to win this battle, and he leaves. Austin goes to Human Resources and immediately sends the woman working there to get him a beer.
He was not only being a dick to everybody, he was a sexist pig.
Yes.
I was disgusted with my hero, Steve Austin.
It's a different time, Brian.
I would have been outraged by this in 1999, I'm pretty sure.
Me too.
He sits down at the desk. The old man who's sitting there recoils and says, please don't hit me. That was funny. I'll be fair. I laughed when the old man said, please don't hit me. So Austin got the old man after many tries to say the word ass, and they left together. X-Pac versus Big Show.
Oh man, what a great match. Thank God we spent 20 minutes going over these goddamn matches to start the show. There's no fucking match. Big Show just walks out.
There's a little
Why the fuck did people watch this show?
There's a little more to it than that.
No, there's not.
Show says, I have no heat with you. I don't want to fight you. X-Pac says, I get where you're coming from. I'm a grown man. I fight for a living. This match is booked. Let's do this. So Show throws him out of the ring. Kane comes out. He pulls Pac out of the way and says, I will fight for you. But X-Pac goes to pull him back, so Kane hits X-Pac. X-Pac recovers. He drops Kane with a kick to the back of the head. He kicks Big Show out of the ring, and then Big Show walks out. He's had enough and he left. That's how things ended.
Stupid.
Geeks are putting Shamrock in a straitjacket backstage. He tells them to cinch it up tight because he's going to beat everyone's ass anyway. Then we get Jeff Jarrett versus Ken Shamrock in a straitjacket match.
Finally, the one good thing on this show. The greatest performance of Ken Shamrock's professional wrestling career.
I think so.
He's in there in a goddamn straitjacket. He's got no arms. In there against Jeff Jarrett. So he's sitting there and he's doing one-legged X-guard sweeps. He's doing triangles. He finally gets cut off. He sells for a little while. He makes a no-arm comeback. He's doing these giant kicks. Boots this guy in the corner, and then Jarrett goes down, and he figure fours his neck from behind and submits Jeff Jarrett. That was a masterpiece.
This was fucking awesome.
I don't think you could do a better straitjacket match
Impossible.
than this one right here.
He's out there throwing his kicks with no arms like the Black Knight and the Holy Grail. It's just a flesh wound. He gets cut off after doing like 3 different leg-only submissions. And finally, Jarrett cuts him off and just stomps him. Shamrock comes back, hits the one big jumping kick, wins with the head scissors. Awesome.
It was.
Significantly better than anything on Nitro.
Can you imagine a show with so many bullshit fuck finishes, and the one goddamn match with a clean finish is a guy in a straitjacket with no arms,
Yes.
legitimately submitting a guy with his legs? Fuck.
So the ref pulls out a key and goes to unlock the straitjacket because apparently straitjackets have keys now.
Well, yeah, it's gonna lock on it.
And Vince lays out the ref, runs off with the key. GTV
Oh, this.
shows us Mr. Ass getting his ass shaved.
This was shit.
He has a zit on his ass. He blames this on the stylist and tells her not to tell anybody.
This sucked.
The Stooges versus Midian and Viscera.
The Stooges are now just guys that do bad matches. It's not even funny anymore.
No.
It's not creative. You don't get to see anybody shine.
The bad thing is they had good matches before this.
They did.
Fuck, the Stooges just... They get beat up by the posse.
Yeah, this was...
It's not even entertaining.
Do you remember when Gerald Briscoe had a plan?
Yeah.
Apparently the plan was to get beat up by the posse.
Well, the plan was we'll bring chairs into the ring.
I see.
So, we'll either hit him and win, or we'll hit him and get disqualified and we can flee. I guess that was
So
the
they
plan.
get beat up, and Viscera hits and splashes, and Ross notes this is the largest man who's ever been on top of Patterson.
Yes.
And that's how it ended. Austin meets with an accountant, goes over all the money the company has lost due to his carnage.
Yes.
He flips the page, says, take some zeros off of Vince McMahon's salary, add them to Mick Foley's. Take Shane's salary, convert it to the beer budget.
Before that, he has an amazing line where he's looking over the book and he pauses and he screams, Shane McMahon is making that kind of money?
Yeah.
How many times over the years have I thought that same thing?
Yes. Kane versus the Acolytes.
Oh, God.
It's hard to tell because Kane's wearing a full body costume, but this had to be the best shape of his life.
No,
He's
watch some of the Royal Rumbles.
He's very lean here.
Yeah, he kind of goes up and down.
Yeah. He brawled a lot.
It's supposed to be a handicap match. And, you watch every other match on the show, and no one abides by any stipulations. Guys don't put the dog collar on.
Yeah.
Guys hit each other with chairs before the match. Nobody does anything that they're supposed to do, but X-Pac stays in the back for 10 fucking minutes.
Yeah.
And doesn't come out until his partner has been pinned.
So Kane puts up a big fight, obviously, but eventually they hit him really fucking hard in the head with a chair. Gosh. And a assisted neck breaker and pin him. And then, as you noted, X-Pac runs out with a chair to fend them off. Kane does the zombie sit-up. The Acolytes flee. Shamrock...
Is this show still going on?
We're almost done.
Almost.
Jesus Christ.
Shamrock is snapping backstage. He's throwing a tantrum. He's kicking furniture. And he's fighting and grunting. And suddenly he gets one of his arms free. I'm honestly not sure if that was supposed to happen or not.
He's supposed to bust his way out of the straitjacket.
Yeah.
Tony showed up and he just looks at the TV and goes, "What's happening there?" Well, it's
Fair
Ken
question.
Shamrock in a fucking straitjacket, just running around like a goddamn idiot on a shitty, horrible show.
There's shots of all the plaques and awards and trophies in Vince's office. And then Austin is sitting at Vince's desk surrounded by empty beer cans.
Ugh.
He orders wheelbarrows of bullshit brought in and dumped in the office. So they do this. Vince and Shane are watching on
So
a
let me get
monitor.
this straight.
So stupid.
Okay, I understand that Steve Austin loves to fuck with Vince McMahon, right?
Sure.
But he's now the CEO.
That's his office.
This is now his office,
Yep.
and it's filled with shit. We just, ignore that?
He'll find another office.
Because it's funny.
He'll find another office.
It's fucking is terrible. I hate this show. This show is way worse than Nitro.
No.
Yes.
No.
I have to-
Yes.
Vinny, usually I am simpatico with you. Brian, you're right.
Thank
No.
you. And it's my birthday, so just tell me I'm right.
Between the Shamrock match and the Rock promo, this blew Nitro out of the water.
How about the 8-man on Nitro that blew the Shamrock match out of the water?
Yeah, it was all right.
So much better stuff on Nitro. The fucking West Texas Redneck song was better than anything on this show, including the Shamrock match.
No, I disagree.
You're wrong.
Vince and Shane are outraged there's now bullshit in their office. They storm down the hallway and go to the ring for a promo. Vince promises he would never forget or forgive Austin for this. He proposes, take Shane's stock in the company, my stock in the company, and your CEO position, put it all in a briefcase, hang it over the ring.
What about his stock? Is that on the line too, or just his CEO position?
Did he say that and I forgot it? I may have written that down.
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. Who cares?
I don't know.
They can do a ladder match.
You're going to do a ladder match with the briefcase. Shane is about to announce the stipulation for the Rock's match when Shamrock zooms in, lays him out with a suplex, chases Vince to the back. And Vince jumps in his limo and drives away. So
what is the stipulation?
the stipulation is, as Triple H comes out and says, Shane didn't have a chance to say this, but it's actually a triple threat match between you, me, and Undertaker.
Cool.
So we already saw a handicap match. Now we're seeing another one. It just went... Everything else in this show went so short there was no point.
Right.
This went so long. It's 15 minutes of two guys beating up one.
Well, you know, just like I say all the time, they finally give you a good match with good wrestlers, and it's impossible to care about it.
Yeah.
Because they have rendered wrestling absolutely meaningless. And then this fucking Vince Russo has to go on and on about how, well, you know, we did long matches and nobody cared. Gee, I wonder fucking why.
So the ref gets bumped. Rock makes a cover, no ref. Second ref runs down. Chyna lays him out. Chyna accidentally trips Taker. Taker goes after Chyna. Hunter grabs Taker. Taker snaps Hunter's neck in the ropes. Rock hits a rock bottom for the win. It was actually a great finish. Mm-hmm. But this went twice as long as it needed to, and it capped off a bad show. I will concede.
Well, thank you.
Hunter and Taker had actually a hell of a brawl. All the other ministers ran out to pull them apart.
All the other ministers?
The corporate ministers.
I don't think they're ministers.
I don't know what to say.
I mean, you can...
It sounds better than dudes in the corporate ministry.
Craig, I'm sure, is part of a ministry. That doesn't make him a minister.
Should I just call them geeks?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, they're geeks, right?
They are geeks.
They are geeks. Let's play the music and go home.
Oh,
Yes, please.
Music. Forgot. I'm done.
The finishes on this show were pin after interference in a dog collar match in which one man never wore a dog collar. Pin after interference. DQ in a blindfold match. No finish in a David versus Goliath match. No finish in a tag match. And I suppose it counts as a clean pin in the main event.
Vince Russo at the height of his powers.
Retro Raw number 317, also June 21st, 1999. Triple H and Chyna come out for a promo. Hunter is huge. He's just enormous. He calls out Undertaker, who comes out and they're about to fight when Vince McMahon and the Ministry run out to make peace.
So Hunter wants a match with the Undertaker. He wants to kill him.
Yes.
Okay. So Vince comes out and he just says, hold on a second. I'm going to talk for a while. Fucking Hunter just stands there like an idiot. This was dumb.
So Vince's first claim is that they're not going to crown a king of the ring this year. They're going to crown a queen of the ring.
Yeah, he's trying to butter up Hunter.
And Chyna will win. This is the go-home show for King of the Ring. And this line here, when Vince said Chyna will win, is the only time on the entire program that anyone talked about winning the King of the Ring tournament.
You know, I didn't even realize this was the go-home show for the fucking... I mean, I knew it was for the pay-per-view, but I didn't know it was King of the Ring.
There are 3 people that I can tell you. I just watched this show, I guess it was last night, but within the past 24 hours, there are 3 people in this King of the Ring tournament I can tell you. Chyna and Road Dogg are having a first-round match. They've done a decent job building up that first-round match. And I know Billy Gunn, spoiler, wins it, so he must be in it somewhere. That's all I can tell you. I don't know any of the matches. I don't know any of the other entrants. What? This is horrible. So Vince says Chyna will win Queen of the Ring. Undertaker will crush Rock into oblivion. And it's time to talk about the ladder match with him and Shane versus Austin. He says they Should hang everything above the ring and do a ladder match. Austin comes out with a ladder and a briefcase and beer. He says someday he will regain his title, but right now he's having fun being CEO. He's looking forward to beating up Vince and Shane. And Austin has an idea for a stipulation. No interference in this ladder match.
What a fucking crazy idea. He says if anybody from the ministry interferes, they will be disqualified and he will end up with 100% control of the company. So Austin has 50. Vince has 50. Austin makes a stip, and Vince says, no. You can't make that stip. I'm going to make that stip, and the stip is anybody can run in. So finally, Shawn Michaels comes out to play Peacekeeper because this doesn't make any fucking sense.
So Shawn's out there. He also has the associates with him now, Briscoe and Patterson.
Yes.
And so Shawn says to settle this, Steve Austin will face any member of the ministry Vince chooses, and the winner will get to pick the steps. So Vince wants it to be Undertaker, then he wants it to be Hunter, but Shawn says, no, both those guys are already booked. Then he announces Taker will defend the title against Triple H tonight. And we're right back at square one. Now Taker and Hunter want to fight again. So Vince says, if I can't pick those two, then I shall pick the big boss man to face Steve Austin. To which Shawn replies, that's as good a choice as any. Strong endorsement. He makes himself special ref. Austin's music plays. Austin says, that's the bottom line, blah, blah, blah. Austin's music plays. They all start to leave. And Briscoe and Patterson grabbing Shawn dude, you forgot about us. So Shawn has to have them stop everything. He says, I have one more match to announce. It's Shane and Vince versus Briscoe and Patterson. Now hit my music. And then we got Shawn, Briscoe, and Patterson all dancing to Sexy Boy. That was awesome. So there you go.
So then the ministry.
Oh, there's more. I'm sorry. Yep. There's more.
Shane and Viscera in the ring with Vince. Shamrock hits the ring, whacks Viscera with a chair, and
it chases.
I gotta say something about this, okay? We're now going on for probably longer, but I've just really noticed and got infuriated about it. Every Raw show opens with them announcing 6 matches. Every one of them is bullshit. They're 2 minutes long with no finish. It's just a waste of fucking time, right?
Correct.
Okay. But you know what? They're doing sky-high ratings during this era. So my conclusion is that, if anything, it's proof that announcing the card at the beginning of the show is not hurting things.
Clearly
if anything, it's probably making people watch.
Probably.
So here we are in 2018. Maybe they announced 1 or 2 matches. Like on Raw last night, the main event, they made that match in the 3rd hour.
Oh, good.
As a viewer tuning in at the beginning, you didn't even know what the fucking main event was. It could have been anything. I hate this kind of TV because I'm not an idiot, and after 3 weeks of it, I'm like, this is bullshit. I don't know why anyone watches. But the point is they do watch. So maybe the lesson to be learned from these shit shows here is that if you just announce matches, fans are stupid enough to believe that you're not going to fuck them, even if you do it every single goddamn week.
So to recap here, we have Hunter coming out, Taker coming out, Vince doing a promo, Austin coming out, Shawn coming out, a bunch of back and forth, Shawn's music playing, Shamrock attacking Viscera. Here I wrote, anything else? And the answer is yes. Because now we have to see Jeff Jarrett meeting with Shawn backstage and refusing to go to the ring. Great. So they go to commercial and come back. Vince is giving his crew a pep talk, and somewhere in here, Mideon asks to borrow Shane's belt.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now, Shane's the prestigious European champion, am I correct?
Apparently.
Yeah, I forgot. I knew he had that belt.
I kind of remember this happening when the show was done. I kind of remember what went on, but I assumed he meant as Vince, there's a reason Vince likes to call them the championships.
You're supposed to think he's talking about a belt to hold his goddamn pants up.
Yes.
But he's actually talking about a championship belt.
Yes. Can I borrow your belt?
Which, by the way, the announcers have no idea what belt it is.
We'll get to it.
Even though it seemed pretty clear to me it was the European title.
I'll get to this. Ken Shamrock versus Test. But then before the match can happen, Jarrett, Deborah, and the associates come out, and Patterson says Shawn has made this a 3-way for the IC title. So now it's Shamrock versus Test versus Jarrett. We had Test falling off the top rope and getting crotched, and it was not quite DDP versus the Machine from Thunder, but it was quite bad. And then Test fucked up a clothesline over the top on Jarrett. And then out comes Steve Blackman to attack Shamrock with a stick, And Jarrett gets the pin.
Let me talk about this Blackman guy. So, Steve Blackman comes out, and this is a quote from the announcers. For some reason,
That's what they said.
King says, I don't know, JR. JR wants to know why he came out. King says, I don't know, JR, but you have to love it. And JR says, I don't have to love it. And then they do the finish. Even JR knows how much this fucking sucks.
So Shamrock tells the medics to stay away from him, and they show Blackman calmly walking out of the building. Rock versus Edge.
Yes.
Not nearly as exciting as that sounds.
Yeah, you know what? He was mega over. It was a good, quick match. It had a clean finish. If you think I'm bitching about this, think again.
No.
It's the only good thing on the show, really. And then Undertaker just randomly shows up and gives Rock a tombstone.
Yes. But at least they did the match first.
They did do the match first.
Rock was mega over. This goes in the category of dream matches that actually happened.
Yes.
Now, if you actually watch this match, it was not a dream match. It was a very average Raw match. But everyone loved Rock. He took 80% of the match, hit the rock bottom, the people's elbow, and won. Taker ran down and tombstoned him. The McMahons try to talk Hunter out of fighting Taker tonight.
Yeah. Vince is telling Hunter to take it easy on the guy. That could come back to bite him in the ass.
I guess so. Mark Henry versus Viscera in a Gorilla Slam match.
Okay, so listen. The rules of a Gorilla Slam match are, it's not a body slam. It's a press slam.
Yes.
You have to press your opponent over your head and drop him in order to win.
These men weigh 400 and 500 pounds.
Mark Henry and Viscera, okay?
Yes.
Now, I mean, this is ridiculous, okay?
Yeah.
And the finish was completely ridiculous because it's the most bullshit way to get out of a press slam, as we'll get into
there
here.
was a finish.
That's what I'm getting at. As big a load of bullshit as this was, at least they gave us a finish.
There was a point here.
But why couldn't they have just done a body slam match?
Or just do a wrestling match.
Because that would have sucked.
Well, it would have. This sucked.
It did suck in a different way.
There was a point here. Henry tried a body slam and hurt his back. And they did some stuff, and they do a double down, and the ref started counting them both out. Something at Money in the Bank, I think it was AJ Nakamura. The crowd started to murmur in fear they actually do another draw. This crowd thought, oh my god, they're not even going to give us a finish in a Gorilla Slam match.
Especially since there shouldn't be a double down in a gorilla slam.
No!
The rules are one guy's got a gorilla. We could be here all night.
Yes. So Mark Henry, for some reason, goes to the middle rope, and Viscera grabs him and slams him down and wins. So he goes actually for a top rope splash, Viscera does, just to be mean. D'Lo runs out, and D'Lo and Henry do a double press slam off the top rope on Viscera. That is a huge bump for this man to take. Mideon runs out with a coveted, prestigious, honorable European Championship belt. And that's where I figured out how this whole thing went down. So yes, Shane was European champion. He never wore it on TV, but apparently still flew it around the country every week. And now Mideon just has it. Ross didn't even recognize it. He said, that's some championship belt. This sucked in every conceivable way. Speaking of sucking in every conceivable way...
No. Beaver and Mrs. Cleavage are standing there getting ready to do an interview for Beaver's upcoming match against Meat.
Yes.
Okay. So what's going to happen in this segment is Beaver suddenly turns and just says, I can't do this. And he takes his hat off and he walks off stage as someone screams, "We're live, Chaz!" which is his real name. Okay. He made sure that before he gave up on this gimmick forever, he nuzzled his face in Mrs. Cleavage's boobs one more time.
Well, it's part of the job, man. He's just doing his job.
This was bad. This was also bad in every conceivable way. Because, like, you had to wait till you were live to finally decide you can't do this anymore.
You spent all day at the building.
All the
you put on
goddamn
stupid
rehearsals.
shorts, the beanie.
And not only that, like, he mutters, I can't do this. And he just takes his hat off. And, like, it's not like they wait. It's not like the producer waits a sec to see what's going on. Like the moment he says, I
Yeah.
can't do this, they're like screaming, we're live, Chaz!
He takes one step.
Chaz, we're live!
There's a point later in the show we'll ever get to where somebody was, in fact, not supposed to be in a live shot. No one screams, we're live, Albert.
Dude.
This is so dumb and so bad and so transparent.
And then, okay,
May I?
We're supposed to believe this is a shoot.
Yeah.
What, you gonna come back? You want to talk about this?
I wanted to, you quoted Michael Buffer. I would like to quote Jim Ross.
Okay.
Jim Ross says with a straight face to the viewer at home, due to perhaps philosophical or creative differences, the meat beaver cleavage match is not going to take place.
Yeah.
That's a grown-ass man telling me that.
I just loved that this is supposed to be a shoot. Right?
That's the idea.
They go to a goddamn commercial, and they come back, and they just start talking about it. Man, it looks like Chaz, he was sick of being beaver cleavage. He's decided he just can't do this anymore. He's walked off the set, everybody. We're not going to be able to give you the match we didn't promise. Beaver and meat. It's not happening here tonight.
Sorry. Our apologies to those of you looking forward to the meat beaver cleavage match.
Because, you know, it's very important that WWE gives you what you pay for.
Hey.
They must apologize
Bryan,
that beaver and meat is no longer taking place.
They don't do bait and switch.
No!
No.
And if something like this happens, they got to apologize.
Steve Austin versus the Big Boss Man.
Shawn Michaels, special guest referee, comes out wearing a Shawn Michaels Wrestling Academy shirt.
Yeah.
First off, I wonder if Daniel Bryan and Brian Kendrick were watching this show, and the rest is history. Because that's right when they went down to train with Shawn. It was 99.
I think they were already there.
Anyway, the other great thing about this is this fucking guy, he doesn't get an 800 number to call his wrestling school to sign up. It's a fucking 900 number. You got to pay him.
That's right.
It's incredible. The absolute gall of Shawn Michaels to charge people to call him for information about his wrestling.
About his wrestling school, yes.
Yeah.
So
Amazing.
the man's come out with a ladder. Austin chases them away. And the ladder is, when they leave, it's set up. You know, it's set up like an A shape. And Austin wants to hit Boss Man with it, but for some reason he can't get it folded. And so Austin's stalking him and stalking him and stalking him. And finally he's there, and Austin says, fuck this. And he just wings the open ladder backwards and clunks Boss Man with it. I howled.
Can I talk about Vince?
They come back out. Yes.
Okay. Vince and Shane are out watching the Steve Austin versus Big Boss Man match. They're here to scout. So Vince, this was the best thing on the show. This is what I love about pro wrestling. Vince is a classic goddamn fucking idiot babyface. Steve
Heel.
Austin is wrestling in the ring. Heel, I'm sorry. Usually it's babyface, so I'm sorry if I got confused.
These days, yes.
Yes. So he's a classic fucking idiot bullshit heel. He opens up a ladder, and he puts it right next to the announce table, and he climbs, and he's sitting on the ladder to watch the match. So Steve Austin starts brawling down at ringside, and the boss man is going to slam his head into the announce table, and Austin reverses it, and Vince McMahon, this bumbling moron, he ain't paying attention. He's looking around at something else. And so Steve Austin notices him standing on top of this ladder, and he walks over there. Vince still is not paying attention until Austin has lifted the ladder like 2 feet off the ground.
Yes.
Vince suddenly realizes, whoa, I'm fucking going backwards. He looks down. He swings his arm in a circle. He looks back. He looks forward and his eyes grow wide. And he takes what can only be described as a pratfall onto this table.
Yes.
Now, as funny as this was, he hit the fucking back of his head on the monitor.
Ow.
Yeah. But it was the funniest looking thing you've ever seen. It was everything. This is why the Attitude Era won. Because of the Steve Austin, Vince McMahon interaction.
You suggested this before.
Vince fucking embarrassed himself at every opportunity with Steve Austin, and it was never not awesome. There hasn't been one time where Austin has humiliated Vince McMahon, and it has not been phenomenal. And this was another one. And later, Vince just gets up and keeps watching.
Yes.
They just did it because it was funny.
So they do a match for a few minutes. Boss Man tries to use a nightstick. It fails. Austin hits a stunner and wins. As if there was ever any doubt about who's going to win this match when Steve Austin pinned Big Boss Man. These people were so happy.
Yeah. He was a popular guy.
He was beloved. Before we move on here, I was doing some research to determine precisely when Kendrick and Danielson arrived at the Shawn Michaels Wrestling Academy, and all it says is in 1999. But I do want to share this tidbit from Kendrick's Wikipedia page. It was there that Kendrick adopted the ring name Spanky, a nickname he was given due to his method of staying awake during long drives on the indie circuit. And yes, the words, his method of staying awake, are a link to exactly what you think a guy named Spanky would be into. That makes me laugh. So yeah, Austin won. After the break, the corporate ministry, very disappointed in the Big Boss Man. They all beat his ass. I guess he's out of the group now. This. Val Venus comes out. They're playing his music, and he's got I think he had a towel on, but he's angry Val. Throbbing with rage, you could say. And he gets in the ring. He just says, Pritchard, send them out now. Because we at home are supposed to know that there's a guy in the back named Bruce Pritchard who tells them when to come out. So Albert and Droz start to come out. They begin to air an Albert promo that was taped earlier in the day. It is cut off when Val wipes them both out with a dive. The match had not even begun yet. I had to hit pause to start writing shit down. So apparently, a few weeks back on Heat, Al and Droz had pierced Val's nose. So Val's out for revenge.
without his permission.
Yes, against his will. So Droz gets cuffed to the post. Albert took, I wrote it all down. He took one dive, even half a dive really, because it was on to two guys. He took one kick, one punch, one kick, one punch, and then he is helpless as Val Venus hits him with the top rope splash. This was Albert's Raw debut. What?
I think he was on last week, wasn't he? Am I imagining things?
Maybe like a video or something.
Anyway.
So they cuff Albert's hands to the rope. Val opens the piercing kit. Time passes. He exposes Albert's thong and tattoos a VV on his ass.
What he does is he pulls down Albert's fucking pants. Mm-hmm. His bare ass is hanging out on national television.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to believe that Val Venus is tattooing VV on his bare ass. It's actually a W.
That too.
Maybe this plays into something else. Maybe there's a W coming. I don't know. But it's horrible. If you have not seen this, Val Venus tattooing VV on the bare ass of Prince Albert, it's exactly as horrible as you would imagine.
Like, this is a forgotten segment because I'm assuming this went nowhere and this is the end of it, but it's really one of the all-time stupid Monday Night Raw segments ever.
That's saying something.
Val tattooed VV on Prince Albert's ass.
Yes.
And it took a long time to do it, by the way.
Against his will.
Yes. Road Dogg, X-Pac, and Kane versus Mr. Ass and the Acolytes.
So Mr. Ass is a stupid name.
For a stupid guy, apparently.
It's really dumb. So X-Pac says, listen, I'm not gonna bitch about getting screwed, but I want those tag belts on the line tonight. The Acolytes are the tag champs.
Yes.
Mr. Ass accepts on their behalf, and they're very, very upset.
Yes.
And Road Dogg actually says, well, as usual, the Acolytes talking out of their ass. That was a clever line.
You like that one?
That made Mr. Ass pay off. But now we can move on and get rid of that stupid fucking name and bullshit theme song.
Match went a minute. Ass pinned X-Pac with a Fame Asser onto the belt for the win, and then he left with a belt, which is not his.
Yeah.
GTV, everyone, caught Al Snow picking his nose and eating it.
Yep.
This company won the war.
It did. Tells you how bad the other side
Nitro
was.
lost to this shit.
Yep.
We had Seattle Seahawks Hall of Famer Cortez Kennedy in the crowd. And if you're trying to figure out why Cortez Kennedy was at Raw partying in Memphis, it's Cortez Kennedy, and that's where the party was.
Hey.
Big Show versus Hardcore Holly.
This is such a forgettable period in Raw history. I don't remember any of this shit now. Bob Holly and the Big Show and a nothing happening match.
Bob Holly comes out and says, "You're the Big Show, I'm the Big Shot." And he's meandering his way through this promo. Jim Ross is begging him to get to the point. Eventually, he challenges Show to a hardcore match, and Show accepts. They brawl backstage. Bob Holly throws a trash can at the Big Show and misses. Think about the level of talent that takes to miss the Big Show with a garbage can. So they go in the parking lot, and throw Holly into a wall, and Big Show attacks some random guy, and then pushes a car off a ledge onto Holly. Now,
this is what I'm talking about. This being a forgettable period of Raw. The Big Show pushed a car off a big-ass barricade and crushed and allegedly almost killed Bob
We
Holly.
are to believe this car fell onto the prone body of Robert Holly.
Yep.
As he lay on the cement.
No memory of this whatsoever.
Now,
At least it was a beater.
I know sometimes, often in the show, I will bitch about how they didn't even do a finish. They could have ended with Big Show pushing the car over the edge. I would have believed and bought it that Bob Holly was done for and could take no more. But no, Big Show had to walk down the stairs, walk over, and plant his foot on Holly's chest, and the ref counted 3. Just to make sure we had a winner
Hey, we got to finish.
in this loser
What do
getting
you want
hit
me
by
to say?
a car match.
We got a damn finish.
And you know Bob's going to be just fine next week, by the way.
Maybe 2 weeks.
So here is where Show is walking back into the building. They just leave the camera on him. Albert passes by in like a yellow jumpsuit, and he takes like 4 steps, and it's Albert. He's almost as big as the Big Show, and he's yellow. You can't miss him. He walks by, he takes the 4 steps, realizes he is on camera, does a spin turn, and walks away. My Mans and Stooges sucked. I talked about Jack Briscoe having back surgery the night before. Shamrock runs in and attacks Shane. Vince flees. Shamrock chases after Vince. The Stooges start beating up Shane. The Mean Street Posse hits the ring. The debuting Joey Abs hits the ring. Now, we have had in this match interference from Ken Shamrock, Pete Gas, Rodney, and Joey Abs, and that's all fine. But then they pull out chairs. That's a DQ.
Yeah. And once again, the Mean Street Posse just randomly back after losing that Loser Leaves Town match. I don't think, maybe on the Heat or on a pay-per-view they've explained why they're back, but as a Raw viewer, I only watch Raw, I have no idea why they're back. And then there's this big-ass Joey Abs. They finally got a worker.
Yes. Triple H versus The Undertaker. The action was quite good, but this was 2 heels, one of whom nobody at that point thought was on Taker's level, so nobody cared about this match. There were a few guys chanting steroids. I don't know why.
Yeah, who?
It's hard to tell.
Was it Undertaker, Triple H, Chyna, the referee? Did they think all 3 of them?
Maybe.
That's the best they could come up with during this match. That should tell you about the match, by the way.
Yeah.
Undertaker versus Triple H. Think about this. I believe it is next week that Rock and The Undertaker break the viewership record.
Yeah.
And they set the record which will never be topped. And here we are a week earlier. Undertaker's in the ring and the fans are bored and chanting about steroids.
So
Incredible.
Chyna tries to attack Taker with a chair. Taker blocks it, and then Rock runs in and hits a rock bottom on Taker for the DQ. Then Rock points to the ceiling. Because for months, really, Undertaker has been strapping men to his symbol, and women to his symbol. So Rock went out, and Rock got his own symbol. And this big, giant fucking Brahma bull, like his tattoo, starts to lower from the ceiling. It's legit smoking and snorting, and fire is coming out of its nostrils. And
I just love shit like this because, like, Dwayne Johnson knew that there would be some opportunity on Monday Night Raw to get into the ring with The Undertaker on the Go Home show. And so he went to a smelter. He said, I've got this idea. I want a giant metal Brahma bull. And I want you to make sure that it can snort. I want smoke to come out of its nostrils. Then he talked to the folks at WWE. He had them hoist it up and tie it to the ceiling. Mm-hmm. Apparently nobody noticed it all night long. This is fucking ridiculous.
yes. So the symbol lowers. Ministry runs out. Boss Man runs out to fight against them. Everyone flees. Paul Bearer is left behind. He ends up strapped to the symbol. And I believed they were actually going to raise Paul Bearer above the ring.
Not after Owen.
This was a few weeks after Owen died. I thought they were that clueless. So that was it, everyone. That's the Go Home show for King of the Ring, and it sucked.
Yeah, Paul was on a symbol when the show ended. Mm-hmm. That's the end. Cool.
How long does my music go?
35 seconds, I believe.
Probably need to loop it again.
All right, we're ready?
I'm ready when you are.
All right.
The finishes on this show were no finish because a two-way was turned into a three-way. Pin in a three-way after a fourth man attacked the first man with a stick. Clean pin, which right now I can tell you what it was. Maybe Austin. Victory via...
Edge.
Oh yeah, Rock versus Edge. Victory via slam off the middle rope. Match canceled because one guy doesn't want to pretend that he's banging his mom anymore. Clean pin despite ladder and nightstick spots. No match due to ass tattoo. Pin after a move on a belt with the tag titles on the line in what wasn't a tag team match. We didn't even mention that. The tag team titles were on the line in a 6-man tag team match. Pin after a car was dropped on a dude. DQ due to chair attack after 4 dudes ran in and it was not a DQ. And a DQ due to run in the main event. That's 1 2-hour program.
How many matches were on that fucking show?
Thousands. None of them were any
Seriously,
good.
how many were on that show? Like 8?
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That now I am counting matches that were announced but it didn't happen. They were canceled.
I see.
But still,
So 9.
8 actually happened.
Oh my God. Jesus. What are we doing with our lives?
We're watching terrible, terrible television shows
Fuck.
that everyone fondly remembers inaccurately.
Yeah.
Raw 318, June 28th, 1999, the night after King of the Ring.
Which was terrible, apparently.
I actually went through, I did not watch the show, but I researched the show, and I actually got the finishes of that as well. Now, I don't know if you need a full report. I'm prepared if you want one. But suffice to say, the very first match on the show was a King of the Ring tournament match in which Bob Holly, in 3 minutes, got himself disqualified by hitting X-Pac with a chair.
Yeah.
Way to get this tournament over.
Dave gave it a dud.
Big Show, the giant who Vince McMahon said WCW has no idea what to do with him, I'll make him a star, pinned in the first round. Kane pinned him in the first round. Billy Gunn eventually won this damn thing. His first win was via ref stoppage because Steve Blackman beat up Ken Shamrock. His second win was via DQ because Big Show attacked Kane. And then finally, in the end, he pinned X-Pac to become King of the Ring. And yes, the main event was the Austin McMahon's ladder match with the famous raising briefcase, which the McMahons eventually won. So Raw opens with a recap of the McMahon's win. The corporate ministry comes out for a party, really. This is actually awesome because, you know, for Vince, this is the biggest win of his life. He's beaten Steve Austin. He's got his company back. So there's confetti falling, there's balloons everywhere. And in the middle of all this, there's The Undertaker grimacing and making evil faces. I laughed my ass off. So they bragged about their win. Shane said, we're firing Austin as CEO. Vince says Austin is going to start over at the bottom rung of the ladder. He will compete tonight in a preliminary matchup, and then he'll be on Ring Crew.
What the hell was that match?
Well, it got canceled as we later learned.
I see. So Austin canceled his own match tonight.
Yes.
He didn't want to face the Brooklyn Brawler.
And he did not want to do Ring Crew either. So he books Undertaker in the next pay-per-view to defend his title against Hunter. So they kind of shoot each other a look. And then in 1999, at the peak of the Attitude Era, Big Boss Man comes out to his old 1980s theme.
Great theme. I mean, it was awesome.
Vince dares him to get in the ring. He does, and he says, I love you guys, and they hugged, and that's it. He's just back in the group a week later.
Yeah. I want to mention here that twice in this opening segment, Vince McMahon said, tonight, I vow, will be a night that none of you will ever forget.
Yeah.
He said that before, and it's been bullshit. Turned out he was right tonight.
Indeed.
Unforgettable night here.
So eventually Austin comes out on stage. And he says, you know, before we went into this pay-per-view, I had an idea I may get screwed, so I took out an insurance policy. While I was still CEO, first of all, I wrote myself a new contract and gave myself a lot more money. I've changed the rules so that not only can I lay my hands on Vince, I can legally, physically attack Vince McMahon anywhere in the world as long as Monday Night Raw is going on. Even if Vince is at home, Austin says, I can go to your house and kick your ass. That's quite a clause, by the way. I don't think that would stand up.
Well, that's why he made sure to say only during Raw.
I guess.
Then it's work.
I see.
And not just a personal assault.
I see. So then he says he also signed himself to a title match tonight with the stipulation that if anyone interferes, Austin will win the title via DQ. And the glass shattered and everyone cheered. And this was there was a point to all this 20-minute opening promo.
Yeah, but it wasn't 20 minutes. It felt quicker
went 15,
than usual.
Yeah.
Yeah. They've had longer, shittier ones, that's for sure.
Ken Shamrock versus Steve Blackman in a weapons match.
Fuck.
So,
Dude.
Shamrock's doing the internal bleeding gimmick now, where he bleeds from the mouth every single match, but just keeps going out every week. And as they're fighting, Jim Ross says explicitly and clearly, this match cannot be stopped for any reason.
Yes.
I'm going to repeat this for those of you who may have had audio difficulties or are not paying total attention. This match, everyone, cannot be stopped for any reason.
That's right.
Yes.
Blackman used kendo sticks.
But I mean, does that mean no one can be pinned? Or does that
Well,
mean...
that actually had the question. If someone wins, does the match continue?
Yeah. What does that mean it can't be stopped?
Yeah, this was called a weapons match.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Blackman used kendo sticks and nunchaku and eskrima sticks. It was not as exciting as you would think one man attacking another with weapons would be.
No.
And then he puts his weapons into a bag. He takes his bag of weapons and he leaves.
Yeah.
And in this match that cannot be stopped for any reason, there is no finish.
Yes.
This match is still going on.
It's a no
is still going
disqualification
on.
match that
19
cannot be
years later.
stopped for any fucking reason. And the guy just fucking walked away.
Even if somebody's pinned, this can't be stopped
Why?
for any reason.
Why?
Why do people watch this show? Well,
Why?
we'll find out in the main event.
I would not have lasted that long. I would have turned the show off right here.
Yeah, but you're in the minority because nobody did.
Shamrock is throwing a tantrum backstage. He's irate about how he's being booked. And Steve Blackman goes a step farther. He just leaves.
Yeah,
I
out of here.
I assumed he quit. Didn't want to be a part of the show anymore. He just went home and never came back.
He literally took his toys and went home.
He did. Billy Gunn comes out for a promo. Your new king of the ring.
No robe, no crown.
No. A
What
tag
a-
belt for some reason.
And some pink tights.
Well, they always had pink tights.
I know.
He's Mr. Ass.
He certainly is.
Tony was so baffled when he walked in and saw Mr. Ass. He couldn't figure out what was going on. What is this guy? What's his gimmick? What does that mean, Mr. Ass? What does that mean he's an ass man?
Tony, it's been 20 years and I ask myself these same questions. So
Tony, go on the internet later and Google Mr. Ass's theme song and read the lyrics. Then you'll understand the character better.
Look at Tony feverishly writing.
He likes to pick them. Did you know that?
what? That's in the line.
Yeah, he also likes to stick them.
And kick them. Anyway.
He likes to flaunt them.
A little tight one always stops him on a dime.
That's right.
That's how it goes.
I knew one line. Then he's got the whole thing memorized.
I own that CD. Well, it was the Attitude Era. It had the DX theme, it had the X-Pac theme, and yes, it had the Mr. Ass theme.
Okay.
Now,
Not making it any better.
Billy Gunn comes out. So he says, I beat 3 men to be king of the ring. I'm tired of carrying people like Bart and Road Dogg and X-Pac. I issue an open challenge to anyone who wants to step into my yard. And out come Hunter Hearst Helmsley and China. Easy, ass man, easy, Hunter explains. He is there to talk business. He
He's
says,
here to talk business.
Yeah.
And he begins with easy ass, easy
easy, ass man.
ass man. That's even worse. He can't call him Billy.
Or Mr. Gunn.
Oh, Mr. Gunn.
Has to call him ass man.
Ass man. This is
wonder
so
if-
fucking dumb.
I wonder if this
Don't say.
I wonder if this is around the time where Seinfeld had that episode with the ass man. You have no idea what I'm talking about.
I
do you?
don't. I'm right now. I'm sure.
But I know Brian doesn't.
I'm sure it's funny.
Sure.
So Hunter explains they're still selling lots of DX T-shirts and bandanas and big foam X's, but all that money is going to Road Dogg and X-Pac. They've claimed the DX name. So he started to point out he has better and more important things to do. He is challenging for the World Heavyweight title. He has no time for this nonsense. But he suggests China and Ass should go beat up Dogg and X-Pac and reclaim the DX name.
So that Seinfeld episode, Craig, it aired on April 27, 1995, 4 years earlier.
Okay.
Now, it very well could have replayed many times,
I'm sure it has.
and Mr. Ass thought this would be a great idea for a gimmick.
So at this point, Rock runs out. He kicks Billy's ass. He kicks Billy's ass a second time. He goes for Hunter And then eventually it all just settles down. So for the record, in this appearance, his coronation ceremony after winning King of the Ring, Billy Gunn was the fourth wheel behind Hunter, China, and Rock. And also the refs, really.
Yeah. Did you notice that he said that he issued an open invitation to anybody who wanted to come and play in his yard?
Yeah.
He said
He's
that.
the prototype
Is that right?
of Roman Reigns, also an ass man. Were you aware of that?
I was not aware.
Yeah, that's news to you. And what the fuck is this bullshit storyline with DX rights and merchandise? What is this?
All the money's coming in because Hunter...
So what's the how do they solve this problem?
The winner gets the rights to the DX name. And thus the merchandise.
They said
tax.
that?
That's what they said.
There's a match that's going to happen with the rights to merchandise on the line?
Yes.
You got way more out of this than I did. All I heard was Hunter said, "Go get our money back."
Well, that's what he meant.
We don't know that. Do we know? Do we know that
Yes.
match happened?
Yes,
Okay,
we
fine.
you
You win. This
we
wasn't that
do
memorable a
know
show then.
That he challenged. Never mind.
God damn
yes,
it.
the answer is yes.
I'm going to find out the results.
Why don't you have them written down?
For Fully Loaded 1999?
I'm sorry. Okay.
I don't remember a damn thing about that show.
Why would you?
Fair.
Michael Cole interviews.
Oh, look at that. Road Dogg and X-Pac beat China and Mr. Ass.
Mm-hmm.
This fucking guy chose China for his partner with the rights to D-Generation X on the line.
Mm-hmm.
What an idiot.
And thus, presumably, every shirt or glow stick or Big Foam X sold in the ensuing 2 decades has all gone to X-Pac and Road Dogg.
Well, you know, it's probably a good thing that there's all that Ass Man merchandise that I'm sure was flying off the shelves.
That probably.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that probably helped that
That
out.
evened out.
All right, I'm back.
Michael Cole interviewed Chaz.
Yes, Chaz.
He says, "Now listen, Chaz, last week we saw something we were not accustomed to. When you broke character."
Yes.
Excuse me?
Well, you
heard
see,
it.
Vinny, some of these men are given characters that they play while they're having legitimate wrestling matches.
So what you're saying is it's fake.
no,
It's not.
It's real, but they're given gimmicks.
The gimmicks are fake.
This would be like if Bellator decided we need to spice things up. So you're going to be a janitor. You're going to be an ass man. You're going to be a SeaWorld trainer. And then they all go do fights. That's what we're supposed to believe here.
SeaWorld trainer.
So what you're saying is the gimmicks are fake.
Yes.
The Undertaker's not really dead.
No, we'll find that out soon. He's going to become a biker.
That's right.
So Chaz says he's been down Gimmick Alley before, but his girlfriend Mariana has motivated him to go out there and be himself, a kid from New Jersey named Chaz.
When he said those lines, I was like, dude, did you have to blame her for this? Fuck.
Chaz sounds like a kid that would spray paint your fence.
A kid from Jersey named Chaz.
I can only imagine the tickets being sold as he said those lines.
Fuck. Hopefully he's got the rights to that merch.
GTV shows Test and Steph leaving a hotel on their date, and then he kissed her.
Oh, God.
Just to bring this back just for a second, I did see on Facebook that some guy came to an autograph signing with Chaz and brought a beanie and had him sign it.
With the
Beaver
little
Cleavage.
thing on top?
Yeah.
Wow.
And he signed it?
And he signed it Beaver Cleavage.
Why wouldn't you? So the match was canceled last week. This week, our long-awaited battle, Meat versus Chaz.
God.
For the first
We
time,
waited a week for this.
for the first time in my life, I had a match between two guys, both of whom were wearing gear designed to look like underwear.
Fuck.
true.
This always happens. Because I watch this show every Tuesday starting at about 6:30. Baby goes to bed between 6:30 and 7. So my wife and the baby always walk in here at some point during the show.
He's got to give Dad a hug.
Of course, it's Chaz versus Meat. So the baby doesn't want to just come in and say hi. She wants to look around at everything.
Sure.
So many cameras. So many. She sits right in your chair, Vinny, and she just points and goes, so many cameras. So many cameras. Tony fixed cameras. So many, over and over again.
She's giving you orders already, Tony?
Well, he did fix them.
I see.
Yeah. So anyway, Whitney's just sitting there while this child's having fun. And she's fucking watching this match. She's like, why is he wearing pink undies in the ring? I'm like, he's fucking Meat. She's like, he's what? I was like, his name is Meat. She's just flabbergasted. I'm fucking sweating. I'm like, isn't it time for the baby to go to bed? Let's go jump on the bed, Paisley. Let's get the fuck out of here. So I don't have to have my wife watching Meat versus Jersey Boy Chaz.
Did she notice on the entrance that Tori kisses, she's got massive lipstick on, she kisses both of his pecs.
Yes.
And then kneels down and kisses both of his thighs.
Ah.
I was not paying much attention to that part. The only other thing I got from this match is that Meat did an F5.
He did.
Brock Lesnar stole his finish from Meat.
Well, who else would he steal a finish from?
Chaz!
Not veggies.
Okay. So the women get into a shoving match. This distracts Meat, and Chaz hits a burning hammer for the win.
Distracting Meat.
This fucking show. Jesus Christ.
How do you distract me?
Terry Taylor interviews Test, who was immediately laid out and beaten by the Mean Street Posse.
Led by Shane because he kissed his sister.
Right. Bob Holly comes out for what we are told is an unscheduled promo.
Again, this
all
is
these
fake.
fucking scheduled promos.
So the new story is that last week when Big Show dropped a car on Bob, it barely missed him. Which begs the question,
How did he get pinned?
why was he pinned? Why did he lay there as Big Show walked around and put a foot in his
Maybe
chest?
it scared him
Well-
that bad. He fainted.
If I recall correctly, he'd been thrown off the ledge, and then the car was dropped. Or no, he'd been thrown into the wall,
see.
and then the car was dropped
I
on him.
see.
So the throw into the wall was so powerful
Okay.
that it knocked him out.
right.
But luckily, he fell out of the way of the falling car.
It was a concrete wall.
Who gives a shit? This thing is stupid.
Bob Holly then says, he talks about the car, but says, he moves on saying, I have bigger fish to burn.
That's what he said.
Now,
Shitty cook.
our standards for promos have retroactively been lowered significantly by that Misty Blue thing we saw on Sunday night. This is a really, really bad promo. Somebody's cell phone goes off. Bob is distracted. Swear to God. And this leads to Bob Holly versus Kane. They wrestled for 1 minute. Now, I hated this show,
Oh, man.
and I hate everything about this program, but Big Show's chokeslam to Kane,
Yes.
this was superhuman.
Yeah.
Kane's a big motherfucker.
But
Yeah, I know it's a work.
and not even that. I'm saying, why did the Big Show, who's feuding with Holly, chokeslam Kane?
Because Kane beat him in the first round of King of the Ring. And then he attacked Kane later that night. Now he attacked him here.
I see. So he's forgiven Bob.
Apparently.
Okay.
Regardless, Big Show's chokeslam on Kane was absolutely absurd and ridiculous as he carries. And I even went back and checked, and it's not like Kane had his arm on Show's shoulder, was posting him up. Kane just lifted this 300-pounder up and carried him around for a while and dropped him to the earth. It was beyond spectacular. Holly then pins Kane. Kane immediately revives.
He pins him with a foot on his chest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just how Show pinned him last week. So I guess there's a three-way feud going on here. Kane, after being pinned, immediately revives, and I guess he knew Big Show had rocked the earth with this chokeslam and had to do his best to one-up him. So he did not hold Bob aloft as Kane had done to him, but he is throwing him up and throwing him down with one arm over and over and over again. Now, Show and Kane were both pinned here in the last 24 hours in a total of like 6 minutes. So this could have been done better, but I will not lie. Watching these giants do these power moves, I couldn't wait to see them fight. Rock versus Hunter. Let's see.
Rock did a promo.
It was amazing, yes.
36-pound head, the usual lines. And for the record, I didn't time it, but I'm pretty sure the promo that he cut lasted significantly longer than Rock versus Triple H here on Raw,
It was significantly better.
which went 2 minutes, and there was Billy Gunn attacking Rock with a stick for the DQ.
Yes. At this point in the show, we had 4 matches. I believe they totaled about 5 minutes.
Yeah, I was getting drained by this point.
The Rock said that he wants to serve up a Rock burger with cheese and a nice drink of monkey piss.
Freshly squeezed monkey piss.
This man can say anything and the crowd goes nuts.
Yeah.
He literally
That's
can
his
say
gimmick.
anything.
He's the Rock. You are correct. No other man in the history of the world could say this dialogue and get away with it. But Rock made it work.
You know, the unfortunate thing is the company did not apparently realize how great The Rock was.
Yeah, they thought it was great dialogue.
And so they've been writing this shit now for 19 years,
Yeah.
and nobody can fucking pull it off except him.
Yeah, and he's not there.
Yeah.
Cole is backstage, and he is interrupted by Prince Albert and Draws laying out Val Venus. Godfather versus Edge. I don't know who this blonde in the red was,
Yes.
but she needs to be on TV every week.
Yeah, I don't know if she ever came back again, but she was a winner.
I know she went home with Edge. Well, I don't know that. But
So they're doing this match, and Edge and Christian have beaten the Hardys at the pay-per-view. And Lawler notes, well, Jeff Hardy ain't the Godfather.
that's true.
I agree. I agree fervently.
All you need to know about this match is Edge versus the Godfather. The referee gets distracted, and Albert hits the ring. How much does Albert weigh? 320 pounds?
A lot.
Easy.
Okay, so he weighs 320 pounds. He grabs the Godfather, who looks like he's about 300 pounds.
Absolutely.
You've got 620 pounds here. Albert press slams the Godfather. Not a body slam. He presses him over his head. He power slams the
He
guy.
sits out with it, so they both hit the earth.
Yes. The whole fucking planet moves. This goddamn referee doesn't know anybody
No.
else is in the ring. He's so distracted by these
Did
titties.
somebody leave the door open? What is that?
So Edge finishes
This
Godfather
was
off.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was bad refereeing.
Like an atomic bomb could have gone off.
Yes.
Like, what the fuck is this ref doing? This is stupid.
Looking at hot women. So Edge finishes Godfather off with a spear, just to make things formal. Draws and Albert tie Godfather in the ropes. They grab the gal in red. They're about to pierce her tongue when Edge makes the save. As they clear the ring,
Maybe she would have looked good with a tongue piercing.
so you're on Draws' side.
I'm not on his side. I'm just saying we shouldn't presume he made the save.
Tongue studs are pretty hot.
So you're saying,
Well, I mean, if it were against her will, that would be bad.
Bryan,
Yeah, you don't say.
they were holding her down and yanking
All
her
right,
tongue
fine.
out.
You're right.
You're having a very stupid night.
Oh, me?
Yes.
Did you watch these fucking shows?
Yes.
I'm trying to make these shows entertaining because they weren't.
So the woman in red, of course, flocks to Edge and goes to leave with him. He saved her night, saved her tongue for whatever use she had in mind for it. And all I could think
Sure.
was, this was the moment when the Rated R Superstar debuted. Right here. And they cut way, way up in the rafters, and Gangrel is watching, and he looks disappointed.
How do we know?
I was
This is
proud. I was proud
he
of Edge.
looked disappointed. They showed him from 2 miles away. This was like The Wall.
He was
What do you mean he looked disappointed?
Well, he wasn't
we just
smiling.
saw him there.
I don't know.
Fuck.
The announcer said he didn't look happy. I
He
took their word for
removed
it.
his glasses
All right,
and there
that's
was a
fine.
glare.
He's a scowl.
Yes.
He's upset.
He
He's
always looks like that.
Sometimes he smiles. He goes out smiling with carrying the cup of blood.
Okay, fine.
He's losing a vampire to these devilish women. You'd
Maybe
be
he's
upset
gaining
too.
gaining a vampire in red.
I hadn't thought of that.
Vampirella, if you will.
Billy Gunn versus Bradshaw, a match Jim Ross promised would be, quote, a dandy little matchup. Even Lawler buried him for that.
Can I read what I wrote for this match and just tell me like if I'm right about any of it? So Billy moons Farouk. Ref tends to Farouk. Farouk accidentally hits Billy with the belt, but then X-Pac hits Billy from behind. Bradshaw hits the lariat, pins Billy. Is that right?
The only thing you got wrong is that Farouk accidentally hit Bradshaw.
Ah, fuck.
Everything else you got right.
And
Yes.
this match only went like 2 minutes.
The King of the Ring, in his first match after winning King of the Ring, after he got outshined by 3 or 4 people in the promo earlier, comes out and gets pinned in 2 minutes like any other random Raw goof. Now listen. It's Billy Gunn. I don't think he was going to be a big star regardless.
Sure.
But if you're going to make him King of the Ring, can you at least try? Just try to make the King of the Ring successful.
Well, Vinny, since I've had a lot of questions tonight, you've successfully answered many of them.
All right?
Whether they're good answers or not, they're answers. What the fuck is going on with Billy in this fucking belt? Jim Ross is saying he's trying to figure out what would happen. What happens if Billy wins this match, he said.
He gets the tag titles.
He does?
What?
Yeah.
Why?
See, okay, because last week they had that goofy 6-man where Mr. Ass
Yes.
accepted the challenge on the Acolyte's behalf, and then he got the pin and left with the belt. So I understand why he has it. It's dumb, but I do understand it.
Okay.
So in a 6-man match, he won the tag titles.
He won Farouk's belt. So in
Yes.
his mind, in Billy Gunn's tiny little brain, he thinks that he and Bradshaw are the tag champs. And no one is arguing with him. No one's going to take the belt back.
So he got Farouk's belt because he pinned,
X-Pac or somebody, whoever's on the other team.
but he doesn't have Bradshaw's belt.
No, because he's still one half of the tag team champions. Again, this is what Billy thinks.
Doesn't make sense, but yeah.
I hate this fucking show. How long before Russo's out of here? What month is it?
Way too long.
June? Oh, God.
Now, my favorite part of this match is the very beginning when Bradshaw's throwing punches, and then Billy only lets him get like 2 in and starts punching, and then Bradshaw cuts him off, and then he starts punching him harder and faster, and then they're literally fighting in the ring for the first.
Well, yeah, probably.
It was awesome, and then it went all downhill after that.
And then another DX brawl broke out, and Road Dogg and X-Pac cleared the ring again. Did we even mention that China has just been walking around all night in a thong? This is just her outfit
He
now.
always does that.
I guess so.
I mean, when we had the second DX brawl, I was out of here.
As I wrote here,
I was so checked out.
this is the point where I had to take a break and go eat some nachos. I was burned out on Retro Raw. Ivory comes out for a promo.
You came back to this.
I'm a professional, Craig. She says she's a real champion, not a Barbie doll lipstick loser. But now she has no competition. She wants to make a Rocky movie and face an underdog, and so she challenges any fan in the building to come fight her.
This fan looked awful familiar to me.
This fan was Malaya Hasaka.
Yeah.
She gets in the ring. Ivory tells security's trying to stop her from getting in the ring. Ivory says, let her in, quote, it's all fake anyway.
Yeah.
How did this company win the war? And I know we're going to get the answer in 20 minutes.
Well,
but
as stupid as this sounds, okay? What this was supposed to be was Ivory. See, Vinny, wrestling is real, okay? But
Hold on, Tony, you taping? him?
hold on a second. Listen to me here. In this universe, okay, wrestling is real, but fans think it's fake. But it's actually real. So when she called this woman into the ring,
Oh, okay.
he's having aneurysms. When she called this woman into the ring, the woman gets in the ring, and Ivory, in order to fight her, tells her it's fake, but it's not. That was what was supposed to be happening here. But hey, listen, she said it, and Malay got scared.
You know, Brian, you actually made sense there.
I'm telling you.
I'm just going to move on.
Brian, that vein in Vinny's head.
I know, I'm
massive.
worried about it. You shouldn't have had those nachos.
Not have the nachos. So Ivory slaps her. She double legs Ivory. Nicole Bass grabs her and power bombs her. And Ivory keeps beating her up. And then this segment ended.
Yeah, John Dodson's all over this segment. Or not John Dodson. What was his name? John Dodson's a fighter.
I have no idea who you're talking about.
The security geek.
Yeah.
Was he also John Dodson?
I forget his name now.
Fuck, do they have the same name? That would be really weird.
Sure would.
Anyway, this idiot security guys, and they're all over the place. I think the idea was he was going to become a pro wrestler, but it never happened.
I see.
He had the physique.
Vince tells Cole he's not worried about Stone Cold. That was a segment. Jeff Jarrett versus X-Pac. He had a rushed but acceptable match as the crowd chanted for puppies. So Billy hits the ring with a guitar. X-Pac beats his ass. This poor king of the ring. It's been one day. He's had his ass kicked 3 times now.
Yeah, John Dodson, but it was Dodson, not Dodson. So the same name as the UFC fighter.
Okay.
And he just passed away a couple of years ago.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, I didn't know that. 49 years old.
That sucks.
Yeah.
So the fans, let's see. Billy hits the ring with a guitar. X-Pac beats his ass. X-Pac threatens Deborah. A beer hits the cameraman. X-Pac breaks the guitar over Jarrett's head. Billy hits X-Pac with a Fameasser. Jarrett gets the pin. A third DX brawl breaks out. Dude. And by the way, China's been doing stuff with the guys now for like a year.
Yeah.
And it used to be she'd stand defiantly in front of them and they wouldn't know what to do because you can't hit a girl. And it would be this huge event. It would be newsworthy. Now she's just another wrestler. They're just trading punches back and forth. Nothing special
Dog
about
just
it at
kicks
all.
her ass, punches her in the face.
And
Yeah.
then she gets back. This wasn't Lucha Underground offensive bad, but there's nothing special about it. She's just another wrestler who's just not that good now. And then we had The Undertaker versus Steve Austin for the world title.
It's everything that I talk about all the time.
This is the ultimate example. 'Cause
Yes.
everything in the first 1 hour and 45 minutes of the show was horrendous, awful, terrible, miserably bad. And then they had a great main event.
Yeah, they're in the middle, actually the end of this bullshit sports entertainment, crash TV,
I can't call it that. It's not entertaining.
awful television
What's
show.
the sports?
And then the main event comes, and Steve Austin and The Undertaker have an old school professional wrestling world heavyweight championship bout. It was so weird. It was a pretty good match. I mean, there were a lot of rest holds during the heat.
Well, they worked really, really hard in the first 3 or 4 minutes. These guys were moving.
Was Austin out at some point in this match?
I don't think so.
Well, with the finish, Taker is calling spots very loudly by the end. And Austin hits a first stunner, but Bearer yanks him out of the ring, so Austin goes to beat him up. And at the very, very finish, Taker is calling spots loudly. He whips Austin in, and he shouts, "Duck!" And he throws a clothesline, and Austin ducks. And then as Austin runs underneath him, Taker shouts, "Now!" And Austin comes off the ropes and bonks into him. And there's if you're not paying very close attention, you would never catch it. But for a split second, they just stared at each other. Then Austin kicked him and stunned him and pinned him. So it's possible.
Well, Taker was a heel, so he should have been calling the match, and it's possible that somebody said, 60 seconds left. And so because it did come, so basically Austin hits a stunner, Paul pulls the ref out of the ring, which somehow is not a DQ. They get back in the ring, and there's like 10 seconds worth of spots, and they go right to another stunner for the finish. So it did seem more rushed than somebody being out of it, but whatever happened, I mean, good match. Austin wins the title clean. Paul Bearer whacking Steve Austin with his shoe. I hope that's not what messed up his head. He just fucking whacks him with his shoe in the head and slinks away. And then, at the end of the day, Vince was right. I did not forget this match.
No, this will be
And
memorable.
this show.
A lot of people remember this match. They were very, very happy with Steve Austin. Well, we didn't mention the heat at all, but guess what, everyone? They all went crazy when they saw Steve Austin win the world title with their own eyes.
And this was the all-time record rating. All-time Raw record rating for this match.
So to review, they took their hottest star against their most legendary star for the world title and virtually promised fans a clean finish, and everyone tuned in to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.